Hi, I'm Michelle, and welcome to Lightwork Restorations, helping to restore light back to the planet. For those new to the channel, I am a light worker that uses automatic writing to channel messages from my guides, and I share those messages here on this channel for you. So, currently, we've been talking about the battle between light and dark, what's happening on the planet right now with the ascension process and keeping focus on the light. And we are going to continue those conversations as we talk about New Earth and how New Earth is going to be coming from the heart space and not coming from the duality and judgment and ego space that the current planet is on. So we need to keep our vibration focus on the light, even if it's not our turn, because everybody is being activated and have different jobs during this transition period. So if it's not your job, don't add to the mess. You need to just adjust where your focus is and help out where you can. That way, we can all get to the new earth together. So, let's get started with the reading. Be aware of where your focus is and what your relationship with the dark is. On this plane, there is duality, different degrees of the same thing. Your job is to help raise the vibration to get the planet to the next level. This involves tipping the scales. There is a very heavy darkness on this planet at this time as it all comes to the surface and stops hiding. To be neutralized, there must be balance. This is why we ask you to focus so intensely on the light. Your individual balance with it is no longer important. We are trying to balance and tip it on the planet, which means you must stay in the light to get us there. Notice when it pulls at you. What doubts is it bringing? What fears is it producing? Are you avoiding or are you countering it? You must learn to stand your ground. It only wins when you come from a place of fear and dim yourself. This is why you must realize what you are doing and the consequences. Though you must keep yourself safe and make good choices, you can't give up what it is that you came here to do because of a few individuals that are connected to the dark. That is their choice, not yours. They will do what the darkness does. It's much like a wild animal. You can't blame it for giving into its nature. What you can do is be aware of what its nature is and prepare accordingly. You don't have to live in fear. Just find a way to face it that makes sense and is not self destructive. Stand up and show your strength. Reach out to those who have solutions and find ones that resonate. Keep your power and don't shrink. They have only one when you come down to their level. When you come from the light, the distance becomes too vast for them to cross, and they will have no choice but to surrender or give up. Hold on to your light and shine it. How others react is on them. But you must remind people it's there and open that door for them. They get to choose if they walk through it. That door is for a new beginning, one that can't be comprehended by the human mind. The connection and transition is coming, but from a higher level, just out of reach of what the human brain is able to comprehend. This is because it's not coming from duality or a place where the brain is in charge. This new beginning is heart based and must be experienced through the heart to have that connection, to have that understanding. On this planet, most are working from their survival instinct and are fully immersed in their ego. The ego helps with safeguarding and protecting you from the unknown. This is why the ego works in fear. It has a set agenda and will use what is available to push that. When you come from a survival mode, you no longer come from your heart. You're working from a place of lack and troubleshooting. If you trusted love, that love would not have let you get into the lack and limitation you are in now. Love would care enough about all its people to provide for them, so no one was lacking. Yet, that is not how the planet is currently operating. You have forgotten to take care of each other. You have separated even further into pushing each other down to make yourself seem better or higher. But what if there were no hierarchy? What if value was in helping others and showing compassion? What gets validated here creates what you are seeing now, where people must fight to be equal as society has created dividing lines of good and bad, right or wrong. These beliefs are then propagated as a form of control. In the new earth, we'd like to release all of that and come back to where everyone is safe and looks out for each other. Love needs to be implemented and not have the restrictions this planet has placed on it. It's a human right, not something that needs to be earned. Are you able to shift your thinking and see a future where duality is less and love is truly unconditional? Can you envision your planet being a place of acceptance and not at war? The time is coming when you'll need to make that choice and work towards what you want to see. It's never too late to choose love. Just open your heart and let it in. The issue is your planet has forgotten what real love feels like. They see it as a weapon that can be used to get what they want. This makes it not love at all, but a tool to a means. Love should have no condition and no prerequisites. You don't need to do or be something you're not. You just are loved and accepted and seen. What you have on this plane might be called love, but it falls short on so many levels. At your core, you know what that universal love is. You spend your lifetime trying to find it and trying everything to fill that hole where that unconditional belonging once was. Some realize that's what's missing, some don't. But it can't be found here where duality and ego rule. It must be found within at first, until the planet in this plane can shift into a higher vibration where density is removed. When you can't remember what that connection of love truly is like, it leaves you vulnerable to the racism, judgment, and separation that we have seen on your planet. They are choosing sides because common interests and ideas are what forms connection instead of love and acceptance. They will need to rectify these feelings and be accountable for where their thoughts and actions have led. Though this planet is for the experiences, while here you still have free will. You can find your way back home to your spiritual side in the understanding that you have a choice. You can choose better. It's when you're closed off from seeing another's perspective that you lose sight of what is really happening and the consequences of actions. This is not a competition, or it doesn't have to be. That is a choice. Do you want to oppose and fight against it, or do you want to help and support? The issue is those in charge have set up a system that fails. It gives you these life challenges that you need to fight your way out in order to see the light. But you could change it. It just takes effort on a large scale. Whenever your planet is ready, we are here to help. The transitions will need to be done on multiple layers, as they must go deeper than the surface to really take hold. This is why doing the inner work is so important. Just giving in and saying you'll do it this way or that way is not a form of commitment. You must understand, grasp, and feel passionate about it for it to really matter. This provides you with the moral standing for the upkeep necessary to form new routines, methods, and changes that have staying power. You must go deeper and remove all obstacles that'll keep you from dragging you back down. It's the equivalent of saying you want to save money, but not looking at your financial spending and removing the bills and services that are no longer needed. You need to understand how you got there, see where things fall short, and really fix the problem at its source. If you don't, you are just masking the real issues and letting them exist, but in the shadows or on a level you plan to ignore. Politics and governments need to do the same. They must evaluate what is not working and fix it on a deep level to allow things to run smoothly at the core and not just looking like everything is okay on the surface. That seems like an impossible task when there are so many with self interest involved. In a democracy, they are supposed to be the voice of the people. When their self interests override those they are supposed to protect and represent, then it's time for a change. Understanding these things is a good place to start. Educating others is the next step. Though you can't comprehend something for someone, you can at least provide the information and open the door. This is not to be done in a I told you so manner, but in an inclusive manner, confirming that you're all on the same side. You can't talk down to someone as if they are less, then expecting them to step up and be equal. You can't bully someone into submission. That's where hostilities lie and when things are only getting fixed on the surface. Be aware of cause and effect. Notice how history has shown you human nature and how it's used to manipulate others. But also notice how it can be used to create camaraderie to get things done on a larger scale. Choose which side you are on. Are you working towards manipulation or towards bringing people together to create something better? Your actions or inactions speak volumes. What are you willing to allow? Where do your boundaries lie? When do you need to prioritize self care over involvement? If you aren't at your best, then you can't give your best. Always check in with yourself and see what you need. You must come back to your center and regroup as often as needed. It's very easy to get caught up in what is going on around you that you forget about yourself and your purpose. There is a lot of energy on this planet currently taking on hostilities and fighting against the darkness. Learn what needs release and what needs to be incorporated, what needs to fuse, and what things must run their course. You can't control everything. It's not all yours to take on. Find your limits and set your boundaries. Though things might trickle down into your awareness, that does not mean that it's your battle to fight. Sometimes you just need an overview or an understanding, not direct involvement. You must be cautious of where your energy is being allocated. Is it making a difference, or are you just draining yourself with no benefit? Be careful what you get pulled into and how it makes you feel. Though you may feel strongly about something, the method to address it doesn't always have to be combative or create separation. There are always multiple solutions to the same problem. Find the one that works best for your gifts, your efforts, and your energy. Let those that are fighters handle the fights. Find those that are peacekeepers and help keep the peace. You can unite or you can divide. There is always common ground. You just need to remember it's there to be able to find it. There is always a brighter future to be had. Confirm where your focus is and what it's building. At the end of the day, do you feel hopeful or defeated? Each day is an opportunity to focus on the light. You don't need to worry or stress about what the darkness is doing. It doesn't affect you yet in your day to day life. When it does affect you, it's at the point when you can focus on it. But by focus, we do not mean go into dread and fear, but adjust and move forward. Do not give it more time or energy than you need to. There are multiple stages in the fight against darkness. There are different souls allocated to different aspects of this transition. Joining in on the fear and adding to the darkness just makes things harder for those that are trying to keep the vibration high. This is not to say don't care about or show support to the different groups as they do their work, but be aware of your actions and if they help or hinder the cause. Find which part of the transition your gifts would benefit and recognize when you've been activated. If your activation is for the current stage, then you will inherently know what to do. If it's not your turn, then focus on the light and keep the vibration high. This action not only keeps you safe from the darkness, but helps those who are actively working during this stage. Everyone has a job to do. Just because it's not your turn doesn't mean that you add to the mess. Just hold space and help others. Bring more love to the table and keep yourself centered and grounded. There are subtle changes happening on all levels. Just because you can't see the light or the shifts doesn't mean that they aren't there. Learn to trust and have faith. Remember that those that are negatively affected viewed these scenarios prior to incarnation and agreed to them. Sometimes their sacrifice is the spark that activates others to start their part of the healing process and join the cause. Just because you don't understand the moving parts doesn't mean the clock is not working. Just focus on the part and let others do theirs. Once everyone has converged, you'll see the light start to shine through. Thank you and see you next week.